Here's how to get a great rock sound from your amp, whether you want a classic crunch or a really thick modern rock tone. Now, the exact settings and sound will vary a little bit depending on the amp that you have, but these will definitely get you in the ballpark. So the key to this is your amp's gain knob, and this sets how distorted your guitar sounds, which is that thick, gritty sound that we want. For classic rock, you'll want a lower gain setting so you get more of that snappy, crunchy tone. And for modern rock, you want to turn up the gain so we get more of a thicker, saturated sound. Some amplifiers have a button that toggles between a clean and an overdrive channel, which has the gain knob on it. So if you've got one of these, you want to make sure that it's on the overdrive channel. If you have a modeling amplifier like this one, then switch it to a high gain amp model, and then use that gain knob to get even more distortion. Now, one thing to bear in mind is the higher you turn up the gain knob, the more noise we'll have, which is that hissing, humming sound, which we don't want. So it's a bit of a balancing act, trying to find the sound that we want without all that noise. Now, if you have a single channel amplifier, usually these don't have a gain knob. Instead, they'll usually have two volumes. One is the channel volume and the other is the master volume. So you'll want to turn up the channel volume, and what this does is it overdrives the amp, which is where we get the term overdrive from, to create that distortion sound. And then you use the master volume to control the overall volume of the amp. Now, if your amp isn't sounding how you like, maybe maxing out the gain doesn't give you enough distortion, or it's giving you too much noise, or maybe you don't even have a gain knob, then you can still get a great rock sound by adding an effects pedal. Even entry-level pedals like these, the Boss SD1 and the Boss DS1, are great choices for some really authentic rock tones, especially if you're just getting started. Personally, I think the SD1 works better for that vintage classic rock sound. Whereas the DS1 has more drive and grit to it that works better for a more modern tone. As for your EQ settings, which are your treble, middle and bass, a great place to start is by setting everything to 12 o'clock, then slightly boosting the mid and slightly cutting the bass. And I find that gives my guitar a much bigger sound while reducing some of the muddiness. Now, if you want a little bit more edge, what I would say is set everything to 12 again, then reduce the mids by quite a lot and boost the treble. And that's called scooping the mids, and it's used a lot of metal for that really harsh tone. Now, if your amp has any built-in effects like mine does, I find that adding a little bit of reverb really helps the sound to come alive. It makes it feel a lot bigger. Just make sure not to add too much, because then it can kind of wash out the sound. And as a final tip, I recommend using your guitar's bridge pickup when you're playing rock music, because it gives you a more aggressive and cutting sound. And that's it. You should now have an amp that's ready to rock. If you like this video, give it a like to help it reach more people, and subscribe for more guitar tips. Thank you.